Welcome back to .NET Rocks. This is Carl Franklin.
And this is Richard Campbell.
Coming to you from the geeky math department today at .NET Rocks. Brian from AppVNext sent me this link for Better Know Framework today, and it's so out of the ordinary for what we normally do, but I know that there are going to be listeners out there who are going to salivate over it.
Nice.
So let's roll the music.
Awesome.
All
right, man. What do you got? I could do some geeky math.
You'd like this. Meta math.
Math about math?
Math about math. Math on math with programming. us.metamath.org. It's a language that constructs mathematics from scratch. It builds up all the math starting from ZFC set theory axioms. I don't even know what that means. All the way up to quantum logic, which I know what it means, but I couldn't explain it to you. And they just add more and more to it. So there's over 19,000 proofs in there. And with this language, you can build on what came before with precision. And then on the site, which is, by the way, right out of the 90s, terrible.
It's vintage.
They catalog all the results there. So here's one. A higher order logic explorer starts with HOL, also called simple type theory, and derives equivalents to ZFC axioms connecting the two approaches. The Hilbert Space Explorer, the Quantum Logic Explorer, MetaMath Solitaire, a Java applet that demonstrates simple proofs. Built-in axiom systems include ZFC, modal, intuitionistic, and quantum logic. I don't know. Come on, I am not a math guy, but there are math people listening who are now, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
Well, you know, in here is a copyright-free collection of math symbols. So if you actually need a math symbol, go here.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I'll be okay. I'm only here for the graphics.
Right.
You can keep your math, but close enough.
But isn't that cool? You build on somebody else's math that's in a program, in code, and then you do your own stuff on top of that. So,
very interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's all just sort of shared at this webpage, which definitely needs an overhaul.
Yeah, but it's pretty current. I see an update here from February or even April of 2017. So they're still using it. This is not a dead site by any stretch.
No, not a dead site, but it just looks like it's right
a little,
out of the 90s.
Little dated. Yeah. Could use a little bootstrap or something.
What scientists are like that. They just want to see the information and they don't care what color it is.
Arguably, that's what the web was originally for.
Exactly.
All right, man. That's cool.
It is cool. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, who's talking to us today, Richard?
I grabbed a comment off of show 1401, which we did back in January of 2017 with Tom Kirkov, talking about monitoring Azure apps.
Yep.
And Samir Baluti said, just wanted to add that using App Insight on the front end is quite easy and very useful too. By just adding a couple of lines of code in JavaScript, App Insight will catch all JavaScript exceptions and report them, because we were talking about using App Insight on the back end. So Samir's talking about, you can use it on the front end. It'll catch all JavaScript exceptions and report them, which is very useful, as usually these types of errors affect end users but are not reported to developers because, the web is always broken.
Yeah.
What is even more interesting is the possibility to see the map of calls done on the client side. In other words, all the API calls called by JavaScript are logged, and the map will show the number of failures as well as any irregular response times to each API. So by combining what Tom has covered, which is all the server-side instrumentation, with this front side, the map blade in the Azure portal will show a complete picture of the application, ranging from database calls to any AJAX API calls. We currently use it heavily in a public site, and we cannot count the number of errors and issues we have solved just by keeping an eye on some of these metrics and alerts.
Wow.
That is awesome,
That
Samir.
is awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. And glad to hear the Azure portal's helping you, because I got a couple of portal guys hanging around today.
Yeah.
So Samir, thank you so much for your comment. A .NET Rocks mug is on its way to you. And if you'd like a .NET Rocks mug, write a comment on the website at .NETRocks.com or via any of our social media, because we publish every show to Facebook and Google+. And if you comment there and we read it on the show, we'll send you a mug.
And you can follow us on Twitter. He's at Rich Campbell. I'm at Carl Franklin. Send us a tweet. We get all quantum regression with them. And I don't even know what that means. But we do.
My mother's telling me I go blind if my quantum regress too much.
All right, let's bring on our guest today. Jakub's been here before. Jakub Jedryszek. He's a software engineer at Microsoft where he works on the Azure portal and the Azure mobile app, which we're going to be talking about today. You can find more about him, his apps, and open source projects on his blog, jj09.net. Also today, for the first time, is Michael Flanakin. He's a program manager at Microsoft with a focus and passion for productivity and user experience. Started programming in high school, then joined the Air Force, ultimately landing at Microsoft. Originally from Louisiana, Michael definitely misses the flavor of the South since moving to Seattle. Michael, I wasn't even born in the South, and I miss it every day. So, especially the flavor. That part about the flavor resonates with me. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. How are you guys?
Good, Jakub. You've been on the show before. And Michael, this is your first time, but you guys have some new stuff to talk about in Azure land. Do you not?
Absolutely. So we're super excited to be announcing a build, or I guess probably have announced a build by this time, the new Azure mobile app. Just imagine the ability to you can monitor your resources when you're on the go. You don't need to be at a machine, and you'll be able to check on notifications, check your status, be able to start, stop your VMs, your web apps, so on and so forth.
That's cool.
Anything that you need just from your pocket. And also one of the other things that's really neat about it is we're integrating the Cloud Shell so that the power of Bash and hopefully coming soon is PowerShell. You'll be able to have all that power in your pocket wherever you go.
Nice.
Wow.
A portal in your pocket.
Yeah.
Because the Office 365 guys, they have a mobile app as well for doing like Exchange server provisioning and stuff. It's useful to just, as an admin or as somebody responsible for some services, to be able to do something on your phone at least to respond quickly to a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is really just making sure that people have confidence that the apps that they have running in the cloud they're up.
Yeah.
And then if they're down, that you can get it, understand what the issue is, and be able to resolve that without having to go into the office or find a machine somewhere.
Right.
So
Wow.
is this a Xamarin app?
Yes, it is. We're using Xamarin Native. And which basically just means that we're building the UI for each platform that just gives us a little bit more flexibility and allows us to make it feel a little bit more native per platform.
Sure.
But we have a lot of shared code that's saving us a bunch of time.
That's awesome.
Across the platforms.
Very cool. And you use some of the features of Xamarin Test Cloud also?
Oh, yeah. We definitely are utilizing Xamarin Test Cloud, utilizing VSTS, and that was a very nice surprise how neatly all of this is working. And like we put up the continuous integration, continuous delivery all together, and it works just beautifully because the real power of the Xamarin Test Cloud is not only like the testing aspect, but also the possibility to run your app on different devices. What Xamarin Test Cloud is offering you. And also, like, of course, you want to have this check that your code is compiling, you can run your unit test, and you can run your UI tests. So I really, really recommend you, if you're building mobile apps, really check out VSTS and the Test Cloud.
Did you guys find a lot of variation device to device in how your UI is rendered?
Usually, I think it's primarily the screen size that causes that. And to be honest, I was quite surprised when we started this. I was expecting Android to be a lot more varied than it actually is. There's still a lot of variation, but it's not as bad as it was, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like the fragmentation's gone down. And I think Xamarin absorbs some of that too. Those guys work really hard to make Android a little smoother for you.
Well, from the programming perspective, to be honest, when you're writing Xamarin apps, Xamarin native apps, you basically writing native apps, but in C#.
Right.
So we really didn't struggle with any huge differences. Like there are like some maybe tooling glitches, but everything else is like performance-wise, especially, is very, very similar to what would you get if you run native. And getting back to the devices, like especially if you like have iPhone, there is not big problem. With Android, when you start like testing on different devices, we had a little bit like trying period in the test cloud to find a device that is the most reliable, because it wasn't that the app was not reliable, but there was like some weird glitches about some like older devices, or like there was like some newer API installed on this device on the test cloud that you didn't have, we didn't support. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's pretty smooth, and you know, the Android is the much bigger challenge than the iPhone, but it's still not as bad as you would think when you see that people have like literally thousands of different models of Android devices around the world.
And you can almost say that's one of the benefits of Xamarin Test Cloud, is just the fact that we have that ability to try it on just about any device, mm-hmm. which we obviously aren't going to buy every device.
Sure.
But it might be fun to try.
You know, one of the things I love about the Azure portal and a website on a desktop is how, you know, it has the navigation panes that expand and then shift and move to the right and then go back. You know, a very nice sort of breadcrumb scenario, which is sort of indicative of, you know, the way Windows apps work on the Windows 8 side, you know. And I wonder if that really, if you were able to use that UI metaphor on the mobile device.
No, we tried to stay away from that. To be honest, we're even on the portal side, we have some varying bits of feedback there, from people that have larger screens to people that have smaller screens.
Right.
And one of the biggest things that we're doing on the portal is there's a handful of really big bucket things that we're trying to do. But one of the things that we're doing in the portal is we're trying to take more advantage of the screen real estate and just move the screen less. That's especially bad when you're on smaller screen sizes.
Yeah.
But we definitely didn't want to bring some of those things to the phone. We're trying to be one of our design principles with the phone app is really to be authentic. Be authentically Microsoft, and is also authentically native for that platform, which I mentioned that earlier. We want the iOS app to feel like an iOS app. We want the Android app to feel like an Android app, and we want the Windows app to feel like a Windows app.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, so you've gone with a different UI paradigm than the browser.
Yes.
Because kind of the easy route here, guys, would have been just to do a version of all that JavaScript stuff into a mobile app. Wouldn't have been.
Oh my!
I mean, it might have been a bit big, but
I can't imagine.
Did somebody try?
Yeah, I think no, we definitely didn't start there. And the main reason we didn't start there is because the portal was built with. One of the big things that kind of drove us to redesign the portal, not just the UI of the portal, but the architecture behind the scenes of the portal, is more flexibility. The old portal was one monolithic unit where everybody was kind of committing into the same repo and shipping on a normal or standard 3-week process. And with the new portal, we knew we wanted to give teams more flexibility, to give them more control, to be able to ship on their own cadence. Right now, I think we have something like 89, 90 different extensions. And depending on what you're doing, we load those extensions up at runtime, and that pulls a lot of resources. And that's something that we're looking at, finding ways to optimize. But that's something we didn't want to start with within the mobile app. You're in a constrained device. You have a constrained connection. Maybe you don't even have a connection at times. Maybe it's that's fluctuating.
Right.
And we wanted to start somewhere that didn't have all those moving parts, so we could be quicker, we could be lighter, and just give you a focused experience on exactly what you need. This app is not going to do everything that the portal does. It's not intended to. It's intended to be a companion app and just keep you focused while you're on the go.
Yeah, we definitely didn't want to have like another portal in your mobile app. We just wanted to have like the bare minimum, the minimum. There's like, you would see that in the preview version, there's not much features. And this is because we want users to tell us what you guys really want on there. And we want to drive the features like that. Because, if you go to the Azure portal now, I don't even know, like 10% of the features there.
Right.
Because there's so many of them. There's so many people working on it. And of course, like, people are using them, but this is not necessarily something that you will be using when you're, let's say, stuck in traffic or when you're waiting for your sandwich for lunch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, there is one of the opportunities in my mind for the mobile app, and this is kind of a behind the scenes thing. The mobile app gives us an opportunity to take kind of a fresh look at some problems, and allows us to do a little bit of experimentation and then bring the things that we learn in the mobile app to the portal so that we can just hopefully take all the goodness that we learn out of the mobile app. Hopefully the plan is to move a lot faster within the mobile app and then just take anything that we learn, any tweaks that we can find to be a little bit faster within the mobile app. We'll try to bring those back into the portal to improve the portal experience as well.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. What were some of the other challenges that the mobile constraint gave you guys? Was there anything that just couldn't be done on a single screen?
Well, we didn't have like something that we want to do this, but we couldn't. It was more about like how to approach this problem or whether do we really need that. So I cannot think about something that really couldn't be done, because at the end, the Azure portal is just calling the Azure public APIs, right? So as long as you're authenticated with Active Directory, you can get all the data you have on the portal.
Yeah, I understand the back end. I'm talking about the UI constraint, the size of the screen. Was there any constraint that meant you couldn't implement a particular feature because there just simply wasn't enough room?
Well, we started pretty small with our focus because we wanted to get a solid foundation out there for build. Since we're not enabling all management experiences, it's actually pretty simple. So you'll be able to get a list of your resources, obviously, find the right resource, check the status, check metrics. You'll be able to perform some simple actions like starting, stopping, restarting VMs, web apps, so on and so forth. I've got a big list of the individual commands that you can perform within the app, but you won't find things like managing firewall rules or even managing app settings. We don't have yet for web apps. We don't have that yet, but those are some things that we definitely see growing into over time. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to get that foundation out there, and then listen to what people are saying about the app. And that's going to be what drives the features that we add.
Yeah, shipping it's important because you don't know how we're going to use this thing. Because I know I'll definitely use it, but everybody comes at it a little differently.
Yep.
So I noticed that you guys used some plugins, which seem to be Xamarin Forms plugins, yet you did native UI. And I know from talking to James Montemagno that you can use these two technologies together. What plugins did you use?
Well, so 3 open source things that we are using in the app now is the settings plugin created by James, which gives us cross-platform access to persistent local storage on iOS, Android, and Windows. Mm-hmm. We are also using FF image loading, which is also a library that allows us to bring all different resources icons from the portal, or we have them in SVG format, and we can just take the SVG string and convert it to the native PNG for all platforms. It's beautiful. I totally love it. And we also use the Oxyplot library for charting. It's super simple, super lightweight library. And what the beauty about that is once we had iOS working, making it work on Android was just literally a few extra lines of code.
Nice.
That's so awesome.
This is the really power of Xamarin and the shared code here. And a lot of the plugins we found out about from Xamarin chat on Slack channel, because there's a lot of people are talking there and they're like exchanging information about what is coming because Xamarin is still like a pretty bleeding edge. It's not as established as native platforms, but these plugins really boost our productivity.
Hey guys, hold that thought right there while we take a few minutes to pay the bills. This episode of .NET Rocks is made possible in part by Windows on the Google Cloud Platform.
You may not know this, but the Google Cloud Platform supports Windows Server 2008, 2012, and 2016.
It also supports SQL Server versions 2012, 2014, and 2016 standard, web, and enterprise editions with high availability.
You can deploy your ASP.NET Windows apps to Compute Engine or your ASP.NET Core apps to App Engine or Container Engine. That's Google's hosted Kubernetes environment.
.NET and .NET Core libraries are there for all 200 plus Google.com and cloud services in NuGet, led by John Skeet of Stack Overflow fame.
But what about Visual Studio integration? Oh, it's there. You can use Visual Studio to manage your GCP resources and deploy your existing apps.
You get stack driver logging, error reporting, and tracing support for .NET and .NET Core.
PowerShell commandlets for GCP, which run on Windows and Linux.
And a great set of partners to bring your Windows and .NET workloads to GCP, including Capgemini, Nudesic, and Magenic.
So go to gcp.netrocks.com and get your free trial today.
You're listening to .NET Rocks with me, Carl Franklin, and Richard Campbell, and Jakub, Jedryszek, and Michael Flanakin from Microsoft are here talking about the new Azure mobile portal, or whatever it's called, the Azure mobile app. Yes, that's right. You can manage all of your Azure resources from your phone. And we were just talking about plugins. Oxyplot was the last one. Did you find that was just as simple as everybody thinks it is? I mean, I use these plugins liberally on Xamarin Forms projects, but was it easy just stitching those into a Xamarin native app?
Yeah, pretty much, because so how it all started, we were looking for some nice charting library, and I asked Frank Kruger, who created the beautiful apps, and he first he told me, oh, I don't use any libraries, I just write charts by myself. And I was like, oh no, damn it, Frank, because he's awesome IDE for iPad. Or he did this Calca thing for iOS.
Right.
They're great. His charts looks awesome. But then 2 hours later, he tweeted me like, oh, you know what? There's this Oxyplot library. Go check it out. And literally in an hour, I was able to crank simple chart. And this is all what we needed, because we just display your CPU, your disk read write, your memory usage. So this is a simple line chart. And then we spend a day or so on polishing to make it look neat. And it was actually surprisingly easy. I would say it was even easier than using D3.
And you said something about in the beginning that you're using the Bash shell?
Yeah, so we took the Cloud Shell, which that was announced on the Azure blog a few months ago, and it's being opened up. It was opened up at build, I guess, by the time this goes out. And we integrated that within the app. It will be available on iOS first, and then Android and Windows will be coming later.
Wow.
We just took what was in the portal and integrated that directly within the app.
So you can download, edit, whatever, execute all these scripts that you might have already hanging around, just no problem. Do you actually show the shell?
Well, so basically we have a separate tab in the app called Cloud Shell, and you can go there. You can use Azure CLI in there, so you can say Azure account list. It will list your subscriptions. You can use all commands, and you can also SSH to your VM. So I was, for example, able to do, I created a simple, I think that was a Node.js VM, Linux based on the Azure portal. And then from my phone, I was able to SSH this VM, run Vim to edit index HTML. And then, so here's the thing. We don't have escape key yet there, and there's no escape key on the iPhone keyboard.
Right.
So you have to map escape key to something. I map it to like some cool emoji. So if you map this, you can use Vim to edit file, save it, and then you can basically update your production app using this Cloud Shell from the mobile app.
You know, Richard, now I'm going to have to get a phablet.
I was just thinking this might be awesome on an iPad.
Right, or a tablet or any kind of small surface or anything.
Yeah, something with a little more screen space, but it's just like you guys might have put the Portal out of business because this sounds like really nice and a little bit lighter and faster. Like I have a 4K 43-inch screen, and the Portal's one of the few times where I actually maximize a window because you can just fill the screen with stuff.
Yep.
There's so much to poke around at. It's like I've never wanted more screen space, but if you've got it down to lean and small, a good tablet might take me a long way.
That's the hope.
Well, I also like just the idea of experimenting with a few other ways for us to administer this stuff because it's not going out of our lives, that's for sure. So being able to try some different ways to take care of it, it's exciting to me.
Yeah, the UI for your APIs are great, but at the end of the day, if you are managing your serious production stuff, you just want to be able to SSH and see what is really happening and see this text file, what is really in there. Like in a very emergency situations, hope this will not happen. But, if so, you can do literally everything from the mobile app at that point because you can execute any command, basically. Very
emergency. That reminds me, one of the times that term was used was a 747 flying over the Pacific. I believe it was a China Eastern's flight, and they got caught in an updraft in the jet stream, and it stalled all 4 engines on this 747.
Wow!
And while I think it was an inverted descent. They put the landing gear down, ripped the landing gear doors off to try and keep the plane from going over speed. In the middle of that, the pilot managed to say to the ground, "We are very emergency." And then they relit all 4 engines. They flew the rest of the way there, unwilling to put the landing gear up because they were afraid they damaged it, wouldn't be able to put it down again. Landed successfully with no injuries. Airplane was a write-off.
Wow.
They fundamentally damaged the structure of the airplane, saving everyone's life.
Wow.
Very emergency.
Very emergency.
Very emergency, yes.
I hope you're not using the console in that kind of emergency.
No, but it's just like, when I hear that, I remember that story, and it's like, when I think very emergency, that's what I think.
You're a hardware guy.
That's
why.
Totally it. And when you bend the hardware to save lives, you've done something amazing.
Yeah, I guess so.
That is really, it's just one of those powerful moments. Very emergency.
What is, I see in the notes here, Xamarin Chat. What is that?
Oh, Xamarin Chat is a Slack channel. So if you go to xamarinchat.slack.com, there is like a bunch of folks in there, the open source libraries, authors. There are like channels for different libraries, and you can just ask them question. Hey, I'm just trying to do this thing. Like, can you guys point me out? And it's very, very helpful.
Wow.
So you guys leaned on that quite a bit when working with this stuff?
Oh, yeah. We are there pretty often.
Awesome.
We are there pretty often, yeah.
Awesome.
Because, like for example, one time with FF image loading, there is like channel for that, and I was chatting with Daniel Luberda, who is top contributor of the library, and for example, we found some bugs in the library. There was a bug with opacity in SVGs, so I said I reported it over the Slack channel, asking like, "Hey Daniel, am I doing something wrong, or like this doesn't work?" And then like 4 or 5 hours later, he was like, "Oh, Jakub, sorry for late reply. It's already fixed."
You could have gone to the beach.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I totally love it. And these guys over there are awesome.
But it's interesting that the guy managing that open source project, they've got that window open. They're watching for it.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah, buddy.
Guess what time it is now?
Must be that happy time again.
You got it. It's time to celebrate yet another reason to ignore your family at the dinner table. I'm sorry, honey. What'd you say? I just got a notification that Barry broke the build.
Oh, man.
Maybe that was hit a little too close to home. I don't know. It's actually time to give away a DevExpress D-Experience subscription to one lucky member of the .NET Rocks fan club. Become a UI superhero with DevExpress UI controls and libraries and deliver elegant .NET solutions that address customer needs today and leverage your existing knowledge to build next-generation touch-enabled solutions for tomorrow. Whether it's an Office-inspired application or a data-centric analytics dashboard, DevExpress Universal ships with everything you'll need to build your best without limits or compromise. Learn more and download your free 30-day trial at devexpress.com/superhero.
All right, buddy. Who's our winner?
Today's winner is Marcus Bruckner.
Oh, congratulations, Marcus.
Yeah.
Golf clap for you, sir.
And Marcus just won the D-Experience subscription. A big pile of awesome from our friends at DevExpress just for being a member of the .NET Rocks fan club. And if you don't know what that is, go to .NETRocks.com, click on the big Get Free Stuff button, answer a few questions, and join the .NET Rocks fan club. We have thousands of members all over the world. In every show, we like to give away stuff from our sponsors. And every December, we give away a $5,000 technology shopping spree to one lucky member of that fan club, chosen at random. And of course, we like to ask our guests in every show. Let's start with you, Jakub. If you had $5,000 to spend on technology today, what would you buy?
So last time you guys asked me, I said I would want to buy the top-notch Mac, and I did. It was a little bit over $3,000. And then I realized that if you have new Mac, it doesn't work very well with like Dell monitors. So I had to spend another $1,000 on the $5,000 monitor.
Oh, you had to.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Had to, yeah.
And then you have to spend another $130 on cables to connect this monitor as records, because you need a Thunderbolt cable and Thunderbolt to USB-C converter. And then, of course, you want a keyboard, which is like $100, and you want this awesome trackpad from Apple, which is $130. So it ramps up to $5,000 ideally almost. But now, what I would get now is my personal small test cloud of Android devices. If I could just buy the Android devices for $5,000, because, test cloud is great, but when something breaks there, I cannot grab the device and play with it.
Right.
So it would be awesome if I would be able to have just these devices hanging around, and I see, Galaxy S4 is having this issue. I can just grab it, just deploy my app there, play around, fix the bug, boom, done.
Interesting. I mean, the real question is, $5,000, especially when you go down to the older devices. I mean, yeah, you can spend a lot, $1,000 on an S8 and that sort of thing. But if you could find yourself an S4, it's not worth that much anymore. You could buy a lot of older devices for $5,000.
Yep.
Like you could build your own drawer of broken dreams.
Yeah, I got one I can sell you. Or two.
There you go.
I've got that MacBook Pro that came out, in the 2000s that has been now circulated through every kid.
Yeah, made it all the way down to not even the dog wants it.
Yeah. It's really big. It's huge. It's got like a 17, 19-inch screen. I don't know. It's huge. Yeah.
I did pass along an old Nexus 5. I cleaned it up and blew it clear and passed it on to a nice kid who needed a phone. So, you do get to repurpose that old hardware once in a while.
All right, Michael, what would you spend $5,000 on?
All right, so I have a very serious problem to solve that I think $5,000 may not cut it, but we'll see. So
you need a Tesla.
You're close. So my wife got in a car accident. Somebody ran into her, so our car got totaled recently. She's all right. Everything's great there. That's not the problem. But I want to get a Tesla.
Yeah, I was right.
The Tesla won't fit in the garage.
Oh.
So I would take this $5,000 so that I could extend my garage so that I can fit a Tesla.
That is cool.
Interesting.
That is a very serious problem you have there.
I was, we were looking at my garage, seeing if I could get a Tesla into it as well. I was telling my friend, like, I think I could probably get a Tesla in there, but I couldn't open the door when I was done. He goes, it does self-park. You don't need to be able to get in and out of it in the garage.
Well, it has to physically fit.
Yeah, as long as you get it, fold the mirrors in, get it to fit in there, and then you let it pull itself out when you want to get in and out. This is ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. I know. But yeah, $5,000's not going to cut it. They're not inexpensive machines. I hope this Model 3 goes well. This is the less expensive one that should be really out in the next few months. I hope it goes well. I wish them all the best, because bringing electric cars in the world, not a bad thing.
And you know what? We always pick on Elon Musk for being a little wacky, but he's not. He's like one of the only innovators in this auto industry, not promising a flying car in 2020.
That's true. Yeah, he stayed away from that so far. Although he's apparently drilling tunnels under LA.
For a Hyperloop?
No, that's another thing. No, he's now talking about building a highway underneath LA. Wow. There was a new TED video. Every time often when you think Elon's just really smart and making things happen, he has a conversation in public where you're like, really? Well, maybe he'll make it come true. He's been right a lot.
Right.
All right. I think we talked a fair bit about the app. Can we dive into a bit more of your pipeline and your management infrastructure for the app? Like, have you done the whole DevOps thing with this app?
Oh yeah, we are automated from the very, very beginning till the very, very end. So we host our code in VSTS, and then we have our build pipeline set up there. And what is beautiful about the VSTS, because in VSTS you can add these tasks that do different things, like get sources, NuGet restore, build, run tests, so on and so forth. If there is something missing, you can always write shell script or batch script or PowerShell script. So you can do basically everything. So we solve all the problems that we couldn't find tasks for with writing our custom scripts. And then from there, once our tests run, we, of course, submit them to Test Cloud. Everything is green. And at the end, we deploy to Hockey App, and we distribute our alpha version, which is only for us, for team here. So we can see what is the current state. And then every week or maybe more often, we merge our alpha branch to our master branch, and we distribute our beta version of the app. And then we also have in a Hockey App set up the build definitions for creating the deployments for App Store and Google Play as well.
Nice.
Because then you need to do like some additional tasks, and you can upload the build to the storage, because at the end with App Store, you have to use their application loader. You cannot fully automate this.
Right.
You need the application loader, you need to upload the file, then you need to go to iTunes Connect, you need to click the trigger. So this is the continuous delivery in the Apple way, but you just have to live with that.
Right. Well, isn't it interesting that the idea of building a fully automated delivery pipeline to all the app stores is maybe still just a bit out of reach?
You can do it all the way to Google Play Store.
Nice.
It's just you cannot do it with App Store. Maybe someday.
Yeah. I hate to even ask this, but did you build a Windows Phone version?
So we looked at the data, and obviously, since we're focused on mobility, iOS and Android is where we're going to get the biggest impact in Azure customers' lives.
Yeah.
So we definitely focused on that. But we are working on Windows. It's currently in progress. It will probably land a little bit after build, but it's in progress. It's coming.
But as a UWP then?
Yes.
That's cool. And you're going to open source the whole thing so we can see how you did it, right?
That's what I'd like to do.
Oh, you're really going to? I was
awesome.
just teasing, because it's like, this is an awful lot of how Azure works going to be in this app.
Well, actually, all we're doing is going against Azure Resource Manager APIs, so everything is out in the open.
Right.
Wow.
So, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just another UI app.
Yep.
Yeah, heck, you could help teach us.
All you have to do is just authenticate with Active Directory,
Right.
then call Azure APIs. This
Nice.
is all you have to do. At the end of the day, not that easy because there is like variety of different Active Directory types of accounts. You need to handle tenants, different subscriptions, all this stuff. It's doable, but if you want to capture like every user, this is a little bit hard. So
Right.
we're just doing this for you, but basically no special secrets.
Yeah, and I love that it's not. I could use this as an example of how I would maybe automate some of my tasks in an app to the cloud as well. That excites me.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to seeing it. So
Definitely.
we're going to see it. Is it going to be on GitHub?
So we haven't worked out the details of how we're going to do open source. We wanted to focus on at least getting something out first. We'll probably talk more about that closer to GA.
No problem.
Yeah, cool.
We'll make another show, I suspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you really want that, go to our aka.ms/Azure mobile app feedback and vote for it. If this will make it to the top, then we will probably not have a choice.
Oh, cool.
Because as you know, like we do the same with Azure Portal, aka.ms/Azure Portal feedback. The ideas that are on top, all of them are either in progress or will be in progress very soon. I think top 3 are always started. So that's how we plan our work. So just, vote for whatever you want and you will get it.
Wow, cool. So yeah, open, just install it. Where we're going to be getting this app from?
So you'll get it from the Apple App Store. You'll get it from Google Play, and it'll be in the Microsoft Store once that one's available.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're plan to open it up because I think more people want to see source code and implementation for architectural purposes, not necessarily for implementation details, but how did you structure your code? How did you group things together? That kind of thing. I think that the more we can see these apps in the real world and how they're laid out, the better developers we are.
Yeah, totally agree. I always like to either share my code or see other people's code because then I'm looking like, oh, that's how you do it. Oh, it's so cool. Or somebody can tell you oh, there's a better way. And this is, this is always only beneficial. And then it makes you just write good code because you know that everybody will see it. So
we need to figure out before we open source is things like just what is our internal contribution model? Because so we're on the Azure Portal Framework team, but I think I mentioned before that there are 89, 90 some odd extensions that sit on top of the Portal Framework. So this app is not a framework. It's something that we're building on behalf of all those teams. But we need to work out what's the contribution model so that they can come in and add value for their specific services when we don't have the bandwidth to kind of focus on those experiences. But we want to make sure that your favorite Azure service still gets the love that it needs, even if it's not the most used service.
Sure. Yeah. That's this is the nature of software as it evolves, right? Is everybody's going to go off into their various corners of what they do on Azure. And last time I looked at 600 different products. So I suspect your experience will vary from mine. And we're going to make a lot of demands on an app like this. Trying to find what's doing. Great that we could contribute to it, that we could actually come up with a solution and be part of that overall answer too, instead of just doing our own. How did the Hockey app hold up for you guys? I love it for the beta distribution, or really the alpha distribution, but do you find you're using the crash reporting a lot? Did you have those kinds of issues?
Yeah, we're using both crash reporting and we also use Hockey app for logging.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we are logging to Hockey app, but you cannot really see much from Hockey app. But then you can create a bridge app to App Insights and pipe your data to App Insights, and then you can see all your data from the Azure portal. Then you can take this data, and what Michael did, he put up the Power BI dashboard from this data. Wow. So you can go all the way from the app to Power BI using Azure, using Hockey app. You don't need another third-party solutions.
Wow.
Well, and I thought there was a time when they were talking about shutting down Hockey app and App Insights was going to do everything, but it looks like they're working and playing well together these days.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how the evolution of that has gone. I think App Insights actually shut down mobile app support that moved over to Hockey App. And then Hockey App added this integration with App Insights, or actually App Insights added this integration from Hockey App to be able to import data, which has been amazing. Like, if you haven't seen App Insights Analytics, you need to try it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The visualization is beautiful, but be able to have Hockey App data just part of that, that's, this is about building a great console for knowing what the heck your software is doing.
Yeah, and we use that same, the underpinnings of App Insights Analytics. We use that in the portal to understand usage, and we're also using that within the mobile app. Jakub was talking about Hockey App. We're really excited to see some of the advancements that are coming with Mobile Center, and I think that being the next evolution of Hockey App and Test Cloud, and all these different pieces to kind of take us to the next level for the mobile app and monitoring and the crash reports and whatnot. We're really excited to see some of that stuff come together, because there's a lot of things that Hockey App just kind of leaves us a little bit wanting for, and Mobile Center has a lot of promise, and so we're excited about that one too.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting organized on that whole how the mobile stuff lives in the cloud and how we're going to instrument and monitor and deploy. So it's cool to see all that coming together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not done yet. But done is a funny concept,
Right.
isn't it?
Yes.
What will it take to get done? I mean, do you have an endless list of features that you want to add, or are you going to pretty much try to keep it light?
I never stop dreaming. No, so we're basically looking at, after build, we haven't done our planning after build, but that's my next big thing, is to try to figure out what is our plan over the next year. But we definitely have a lot of polished stuff that we want to do. But some of the bigger things is we still need to integrate billing, still need to integrate support. We want to bring things that are going to help you understand problems better into the app, like resource health. Azure Advisor is going to give you recommendations. We haven't done push notifications yet, but we're on the cusp of being able to deliver that.
Nice.
And I think that's going to be a very big win for people.
Awesome.
Just so that then you can be notified. You don't have to go check.
Yeah, that makes it an application that's simply present on my phone all the time. Something that's going to let me know when that I need to take a look.
Exactly, and even the one other advantage of that is you can just have the app on your desktop, and you don't have to have the portal open, and
Right.
something will pop up. You can open up the portal if you need to do larger management jobs, but at least you get that notification right there without having the portal running.
Awesome. Yeah, no, you start to think about how we're going to be tied to this long term, and
Right.
and what the new form factors, new devices looks like, so that we can stay connected to our clouds. As I guess as administrators more than anything, just as people who need to be connected to the state of their cloud applications all the time.
Is there going to be a HoloLens version?
Is that where you were going to? Huh? I love it.
It may or may not have been discussed.
2020.
One could speculate.
One might because I would really love to get me some graphs and charts just by tapping my fingers together. That would
There you
really
go.
make me happy.
Well, you
Pin
get to that
pin
whole,
it to the fridge.
all I have is a 43-inch screen to look at the Azure portal, but if I had HoloLens, it's my whole world.
Honey, what's this pie chart doing on the fridge? Where else are you going to put a pie chart?
Nice. And pie chart on the fridge, really? Okay. Yeah.
That's what I said.
You're going to go there.
Yeah.
I
I'm not
love it.
afraid. Bring it on.
Nice. Well, guys, I'm stoked. This is such good news, really, and
Yes.
very interesting software.
Awesome.
A great Xamarin example.
Yep.
Yeah, Xamarin's definitely been awesome. I've even been able to. So it's been a while since I've done any real hardcore dev, but I've been able to commit more code than I think the team would like me to have committed.
Oh, that's great.
May not be the best use of your time, but okay.
All right, guys, any last minute things you want to throw in there before we jump off?
Well, so we just would like to have as many people to try this app. We're waiting for your feedback. Again, aka.ms/Azure Mobile App Feedback. Send us tweet. We have Twitter at Azure app. And you can also tweet us at Azure Portal. And we are really waiting for your feedback, for your suggestions, what you really need. And you will also get the pop-up asking, how do you like this app? And it would be great if you give us something below 10, leave a comment. I promise we're going to read it and we're going to act on it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah. One of the things that I would really like to hear is just how are people using this thing in the real world? Like, should tweet at us. I'm at Flanakin on Twitter, but like JJ said, Azure Portal, Azure app, we're listening. But let us know, how has the app saved you? Some of those stories and just understanding how it's helping you and ways that we can help you better is just going to help us improve it and make it more useful for you, because that's what we're here for.
Awesome.
Hashtag very emergency.
Totally.
Very emergency.
Very emergency. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Great to talking to you.
You too. And we'll see you next time on .NET Rocks. .NET Rocks is brought to you by Franklin's Net and produced by Pwop Studios, a full-service audio, video, and post-production facility located physically in New London, Connecticut, and of course in the cloud. Online at pwop.com. Visit our website at dotnetrocks.com for RSS feeds, downloads, mobile apps, comments, and access to the full archives going back to show number 1, recorded in September 2002. And make sure you check out our sponsors. They keep us in business. Now go write some code. See you next time.
Got a transmitter banned by the FC.